Well, first of all, I want to thank Nick. The rest of the speakers, I'm sure, are wondering why we had to shuffle the agenda around, and I'm the cause. I'm the reason that we had to do that. So I really appreciate Nick working with me so I could be a part of the program today. And I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you about Texas Alliance for Water Conservation. This is an irrigation demonstration project that's going on in Floyd and Hale counties, just south of here. But we all know that we're dealing with a finite declining resource as far as our Oklahoma water is concerned. This particular slide here gives you an idea of the decline in saturated thickness from 1990 to 2004. For example, the yellow areas in that 14-year period dropped in saturated thickness by about 50 feet of saturated sands. The orange as much as 100 feet. I know it's real difficult to read the scale. The light blue areas actually had a slight increase in saturated sands, but those are areas where there wasn't much irrigation to start out with. This is a slide that was put together by information from the Texas Water Development Board. Basically, we can look at 2010 out to 2060. The blue line indicates our supply of water over that time frame. The red line indicates the demand, the needs for water in Texas. If you'll notice, sometime in the 2030s, those lines cross. So when we look at usage of water in Texas, our primary usage of water in Texas is for irrigation and for agriculture. Livestock is a small portion of that total bar, and at the very bottom, it's a combination of manufacturing, county, and municipal water needs. To give you a little history of Texas Alliance for Water Conservation, thanks to the foresight of Senator Robert Duncan, who sponsored Senate Bill 1053, monies were appropriated to do irrigation demonstration projects, producer-driven projects in Texas. Our project is funded by the Texas Water Development Board. There's a sister project that's going on in the lower Rio Grande Valley. Of course, their issues, needs, and concerns are much different than what we face up here in the High Plains. One of the reasons Senator Duncan was so adamant about putting these projects together was he wanted real producer numbers, what the growers were actually doing, what they were using, and you know, the projections are that the population of Texas will double from a 21 million in about 2005, will double by the mid-2040s. I haven't had a chance to check this out yet, but I had a gentleman earlier this week tell me that of the American citizens, 1 out of every 12 live in Texas. So when we go to talking about our population doubling, you can understand the concerns and issues as far as water goes. And one of the things that's happening is most of the people that are moving into the state are not moving into the High Plains area. So when we look at representation in Austin and the issues associated with water concerns, we're going to have to really do a good job of telling our story. Another thing that really makes this project really unique to me is the collaborative effort of the different entities involved. Texas Tech University, Texas A&M University, AgriLife Extension, the AgriLife Experiment Station, Farm Assistance Program, USDA, NRCS, ARS, High Plains Underground Water District. But first and foremost is the producers that have actually stepped up to the plate to be involved with this project and to share their information. We have a producer board that's comprised of 9 growers from the area. Initially, this group of guys, and the names have changed a little bit since the beginning of the project, but They met on a very regular basis because all of the sites that are involved in our demonstration project were selected by producers. They were not selected by academia or anybody else. And these producers were actually elected out of a total two-county meeting. We had about 70 growers there at that meeting, and it was open ballot, and these leaders were selected and put in place as our producer board. And no information leaves our project unless it is scrutinized by the producer board. We don't make any changes in direction or anything else until the producer board okays it, or in most cases they're the driving force behind any changes that we might make in our project. So this is a producer-driven project. We also have what we call our management team, and that was one of the scheduling issues I had today. We've got a management team meeting in Lubbock this afternoon. And this group of people, back up or what? This group of people represent the different entities that I mentioned earlier that are involved in the project. So what's the objective of Texas Alliance for Water Conservation? This goal was basically pretty well directed by Senator Duncan, was how can we find ways to reduce total water pumped from the Ocala Aquifer and at the same time either maintain or enhance profitability of those systems, and then understand the sites that we identified that are able to meet those two criteria. How can we disseminate that information and put it to use for other growers? Not only in this area, but in any semi-arid area that's reliant on irrigation. This is a map of our demonstration area. Basically, the top left-hand corner of the screen. Plainview's not actually on it, but it's just right outside of that. Follow Highway 70 south and east, headed towards Floydada. So actually, the demonstration project is between Plainview and Lockney, north and south, about 18 miles. We currently have 20 producers involved in the project with 30 different sites. No one producer has his entire farming operation involved in the project. Of course, we have cotton monoculture, corn and cotton rotation, cotton grain sorghum rotation, cotton cattle, grass cattle, specialty crops, and one picture's not up here that has come on the scene since the beginning of our project is corn monoculture. We currently have about 4,500 acres, and those acres actually vary from year to year depending upon the amount of acres that are double cropped. One of the things that we've seen in our area with influx of more dairies, we have a large dairy just east of Plainview, Legacy Dairy, and a lot of the producers that are growing forage and on the land that they own, we're seeing more double cropping. For example, we have some growers that are growing triticale for silage, and then once that silage has been harvested, we still have a window of opportunity to come back and either plant cotton or even plant forage sorghum for additional silage crops. So again, we see those acres fluctuating from year to year.